Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. It's the start of a new week, we go again and all that jazz. But how are you feeling this morning after yesterday? Obviously it was a 2 o'clock kickoff yesterday, so you've had lots of time to think about it. How are you thinking about Manchester United? Ten Hag's frustrated. We'll get into that. Nicholas in the chat says Goldbridge is late because he's trying to think of reasons why Ronaldo wasn't crap yesterday. Nicholas, I'm more than happy to have that chat, mate. I mean, look, I welcome this sort of conversation because for me it exposes those who know nothing about football with those who actually dig a little bit deeper, because I don't think Ronaldo was at fault yesterday at all, and I'll explain why. And I know why the idiots think he's at fault. It's the same reason Cancelo's shit this morning when actually he's still the best left back in the world, because people just they focus on little things that fit their agenda. I mean, I've seen it this morning. I've seen this morning people saying that United need a striker, they need a cutting edge up front, and I'm like, oh my God. Do people consume football at such a basic level that they don't understand why our strike... This has been going on for 3 years. 3 years our strikers have not been scoring goals. You telling me Martial, Rashford, Cavani, Ronaldo, they're all crap? Like, apparently you're Man United fans, so I presume you've been watching us for the last 3 years. We don't create chances for our striker. Number 10, wingers, fullbacks, they are not very good at creating chances for our striker. This is not a one-game incident. This has been going on for years. And don't talk to me about playing a bunch of farmers on Thursday night. Oh, we created loads of chances then. Oh, God, the dog and duck from down the road had create chances against them. They're bloody useless. I'm talking about proper Premier League opposition. We very rarely create chances for our striker. We're not very good at it. But we'll get into that because I want to talk about that. But I also want to talk about a little bit about Ten Hag at the start, and also what Ten Hag said about his strikers after the game, because he's definitely frustrated with Ronaldo. That's why he took him off. He said that I want to keep my strikers fresh. We'll have to rotate over the next few games. Rashford didn't have enough energy to play the whole game, which is why he came on a little bit later. But look, we'll talk about that. But I want to just start off with, you know what? When results don't go well, we're very well experienced as Man United fans of what happens. Division. We all want the focus to be on the Glazers out. Some of us are intelligent enough to keep it on the Glazers out. Some of us aren't. And basically what happens is there's so much work going into these this Glazer out movement, which is ultimately, I don't care how well Ten Hag does. I hope he does really well. He's never winning the league. We are never winning the league, and we are never winning the Champions League with the Glazers in charge. So before you wake up this morning and start thinking, I'm going to divide the fan base about Ronaldo or Ten Hag or anything else, do yourself a favour and realise you're dividing something that's irrelevant. Because the only thing that matters if you want United to win trophies again is for the Glazers to sell this club. So anything else we talk about, Ten Hag's tactics, Ronaldo being sold, Rashford being sold, Fred being shit, we can talk about that, but they are minuscule compared to... I mean, the amount of people who put effort into, if we'd had a sweeper keeper yesterday, we'd have won the game. I mean, that's the sort of stupidity you wake up to in the morning. The Glazers will stop Man United being successful. Doesn't matter. Anything else is irrelevant. That is why we won't be successful. But on Ten Hag, I'm waking up to people this morning going, people are already turning on Ten Hag. My name is being mentioned on turning on Ten Hag. And I'm like, hold on a minute. Did I wake up in a dream and start slagging him off on Twitter? I'm checking my timeline. I'm anti-Ten Hag now. What? What's this all about? Oh, no, I remember. I said that Ten Hag made some mistakes yesterday. Shit, that means I'm Ten Hag out. Oh my God, I'm sorry everybody. What did I do? I must be Ten Hag out because I said he should have took Fred off at half time, because he should have kept Ronaldo on, because he should have used more than one sub. Fucking hell, sorry. That means I'm Ten Hag out now. I forgot that. I forgot that being a Manchester United fan, because it's done us so well over the last 10 years, is sitting down, bending over and accepting every decision, because you've got to be positive. You've got to be positive. For God's sake, where do they dig up these idiots? Like, nobody's Ten Hag out. I've not seen anybody say Ten Hag out. Nobody has said Ten Hag out. So these prats who wake up for a few likes and retweets, oh, people are already turning on Ten Hag. Who? Tell us who's turning on Ten Hag. I want to know who's turning on Ten Hag. And I tell you what, I'll jump on them myself. Like a bloody bouncy castle. So I don't know where this Ten Hag nonsense is coming from, because all I'm seeing is he made some mistakes yesterday. And you know what? Pep Guardiola made some mistakes yesterday at Anfield. Man City fans, get the banners out. Pep out. It's the same old shit with Cancelo. Cancelo's shit because he made a mistake yesterday. He's the best left back in the world, in my opinion. He made a mistake yesterday. Guess what? People make mistakes. And Erik ten Hag, as I said at the start of the season, before a ball was kicked, he's going to make mistakes. He's never managed in this league before. And he's taken on the worst squad Man United have ever had in Premier League history. God, he's going to make mistakes. And we have to expose those mistakes and we have to discuss why those mistakes happened. It doesn't mean you're Ten Hag out. We will never progress as a football club if we have idiots in the fan base who start calling. I had this last week with Bruno. Apparently I hate Bruno and I'm starting an agenda. Oh, the only agenda I've started with Bruno is telling everybody we needed to bloody buy him in the first place. And all I've said about Bruno is, and it was proved again yesterday, if you think that's good from Bruno, you're a bloody fool. Bruno is way better than that. And he's not played well for 6 months. So I will call Bruno out and say he's not playing very, very well because he's not playing well. He's playing bang average. He's nowhere near his best. That is called appreciating what Bruno is. Like, you've got to call it out because you've got to have standards. I have not got any agenda against any Man United player. I just know we're nowhere near where we need to be. And that is down to individual performance. And it's also down to the fact that Erik ten Hag's job is ridiculously hard. It's very, very hard. Lars has just gifted a membership. Morning, Mark. How Ronaldo scores 20 plus goals last season without service this season is just weird, mate. I'm confused, says Mikael Roach. Well, a lot of Ronaldo's goals last season were just purely out of individualism, wasn't it? If you go back through those 18 goals, I think you make a good point. But I can think of 6, 7, 8, 9 goals that Ronaldo scored yet last season that were basically out of nothing. You know, I mean, 2 off the top of my head. Atalanta just threads it through the eye of a needle. Spurs, couple against Spurs. The service we create, and I'll come to that point because I've got a very good point to make about that. But if you are thinking about being anti-Ten Hag, and I genuinely think I'm talking to nobody here, but if there is any United fan thinking Ten Hag might not be the right manager, and the only people who are thinking that is probably in the media because they wanted Poch, I don't know of a United fan that isn't behind Ten Hag. You can back the manager and still say he made mistakes because that's part of growth. That's part of development. You know, Sir Alex Ferguson in the first few years at United, he made loads of mistakes. Loads of mistakes. I think most Manchester United fans, if not all Manchester United fans, are completely switched on to the enormous job Erik ten Hag has got. And some might even say impossible job Erik ten Hag has got. He made mistakes yesterday. He should... The problem with Manchester United and the problem with Erik ten Hag yesterday is that we are so bloody predictable. I said this before the game on the watch along. If I was going to Old Trafford with any team at the moment, I would sit deep. I would be very compact with 2 banks of 4 and 1 in front of that and then 1 up front for the counter. And I would sit in deep and I would say to Man United, you go and score a good goal because we're not going to make a mistake. We're not going to let you get in behind. We're not going to get in 2v2s. We're going to make you play through us. And if you score a worldie, well, you know, there's not a lot you can do about that. We're the underdogs. And that's exactly what Newcastle did in the second half. Now, if I know that, and you know that, Eddie Howe knows that, everybody knows that. And if we know that, Newcastle's defenders know that. And the problem I had with Erik ten Hag's tactics yesterday, and look, he may have a very good reason for it, is that we never mixed it up. The one sub we made was Ronaldo for Rashford. And actually, if I'm a defender, that makes my job easier because I'm like, well, actually, for the last 20 minutes, as long as we don't get caught for pace, he ain't going to do anything. He's not even a centre forward. And even if he gets a chance on his head, he'll probably miss it, which he did. It's not Rashford's fault. Rashford should be on the left. So for me, what Erik ten Hag should have done in the last 20 minutes is make Newcastle defenders think. And we didn't. We kept doing the same thing. So I think that was a mistake. But I'm 100% behind Ten Hag. He needs another 500 million for a start. He needs another 7 players. He needs to sell another 7 players. We are right at the start of the story here. If people think we're going to play tiki-taka football and be up there at the top of the league, you're having a laugh. I mean, we've got the Spurs preview later. We've got Spurs on Wednesday. We've got Chelsea on Saturday. Spurs is a must-win on Wednesday. I already think we're losing to Chelsea. So we are going to take 4 points from 9 maximum from a very important 3 games, in my opinion. That's not a good week. Doesn't mean we need to sack Ten Hag. It just means the enormity of the job is massive. I can't see us getting top 4. And that's not waking up this morning. I just don't think it's possible. So I'm very realistic about where we are. Watched this channel for years and saw you criticise yourself from time to time. Guess you are anti-Goldbridge, says Reeves. Don't know what that means. And please, Carrie, can you do annual season upfront payment for membership subscriptions? That's to do with YouTube, Steve. I'm sorry. Mark, big up. I noticed when we attack, it's 4-2-4. Bruno plays like a striker. He needs to drop back to midfield and create, says EJ. No one spots Ronaldo runs. We end up passing it right and left on the edge of the box with static attackers just stood there. Look, you know the big issue with Manchester United, right? I'm going to tell you now. Ten Hag's Ronaldo frustration. People will think that that's Ten Hag frustrated with Ronaldo. I think Ten Hag took Ronaldo off yesterday because he was frustrated, but I don't think he's frustrated about the player. Sometimes people don't realise that the problem isn't always the player. This is a problem that it doesn't matter whether it's Haaland, Ronaldo, Harry Kane, Mbappe, Rashford, Martial. It's happened to Cavani, it's happened to Ronaldo, it's happened to Martial. It's been happening for 3 years. At some point, intelligent people who watch football, which most of you are, realise what the problem is at Man United, because you've been watching these games with me for years. How many? Where did the word graveyard shift come from in context of Manchester United? It's because playing up front for Man United is the graveyard shift, and the graveyard shift means it's not very nice. It's a lonely, horrible job. That's what Man United's number 9 position is, and that's what Ronaldo had yesterday, and he had it against Ammonia on Thursday. Name me one big opportunity Ronaldo has had in the last 180 minutes. I can't think of one big chance. The big chance that fell to the number 9 across those 2 games was Rashford's in the last minute yesterday. So we've created one big chance for our striker in 2 games at home. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And it's been going on for years. So for anybody who goes, we need a new striker, we need a cutting edge, they don't know football. They must be watching football like this, live text. They're not watching movement off the ball. They're not watching United's chance creation. Now, I'm going to give you a very big example here of what's going wrong with Manchester United. You put Erling Haaland in a Manchester United shirt, he's scoring no goals because we're not creating any chances in the box for Erling Haaland. Manchester City under Pep Guardiola, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, he doesn't like putting crosses into the box. Traditionally, I remember watching Barcelona under Pep, they needed a goal. And I'm like, chuck the ball in the box for fuck's sake. Just whip a cross in. Play a 50-50. No. Tiki-taka, tiki-taka, tiki-taka. Pass, 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 pass. They got knocked out. I think it was in the Champions League. You watch Man City yesterday or any game this week. He's bought a number 9 that is a penalty box striker. What's Pep Guardiola started getting Foden, Cancelo, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva. How many times are they putting quality crosses into the box? Yesterday, Haaland didn't score. But Alisson, at least 3 times, had to be quick off his line to get onto a cross into the 6-yard box where the centre-backs couldn't do anything about it. Foden did 1, Cancelo did 1, I think De Bruyne did 1. They are constantly putting good crosses into the box. A team that traditionally isn't a team that puts crosses into the box. That's not really what Man City have been about with Aguero and Jesus. They've been more tiki-taka. They've now got a 6-foot whatever striker who loves balls into the box, and they are whipping crosses in all the time. Good quality crosses. Man City and Pep have figured out how to do that in 2 months. Manchester United haven't figured out how to do it in 3 years. And this is where Ten Hag's frustration is. He has got a penalty box striker, and Manchester United's wingers, fullbacks, attacking midfielders do not put quality crosses into the box. We do not create chances for a number 9. We don't do it. We don't. Most of our chances and most of our goals this season are counter-attacks or coming from our wide forwards. If you're a number 9 in a United shirt, you are dead. Absolutely dead. Why can Manchester United not put good crosses into the box? Whether it's Dalot, Shaw, Malacia, Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Bruno, Eriksen. Why are we not creating good chances for a number 9? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Because I watch football, you watch football, we watch it together on watch-alongs. This has been going on for 3 years. It's not a Ten Hag issue. It wasn't a Ranić issue. You could probably say it was a Solskjaer issue. It's a recruitment issue. It's a player type issue. We do not create chances in the box for our number 9. We are static, we are slow, we don't move the ball quick enough, and therefore when we do put a cross into the box, as a defender, you can do it blindfolded because you'll see Dalot, you'll see Shaw, you'll see Bruno, you'll see Sancho, you'll see Anthony. They look up, They look at the ball and they go, I'm going to cross the ball at some point in the next 5 seconds. Get ready. Here it comes. And God, they're ready. They're not stretched. They're not in trouble. We've lost the ability to put a cross into the box. And it's not just crossing, it's everything else as well. But there are excuses and there aren't excuses. Man City are doing this time and time again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a game. We can't do it. We just don't do it. So I understand Ten Hag's frustration, and I sort of understand why he took Ronaldo off, because we're just not playing to, and it's not Ronaldo's strengths, we're not playing to any number 9 strength. We don't create chances. I've seen Martial play up front for Man United and get a 5 out of 10. I saw Ronaldo yesterday. I've seen Cavani do it, and after every game we go, you've got to give them a low mark, but they're not getting any, there's nothing going on. They're making the runs, and you know, it's just so clear. It's so clear. And the fact that we have got so-called experts, whether it's ex-players, journalists or fans, saying we need to buy a striker. Oh my God, we don't need to buy a striker. We do need to buy a striker for depth, but buying us, if I had 100 million quid now, I think some people would go and spend it all on a striker. And I'm like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Icing on a cake that's not been baked ain't going to work. It's just going to be a mess. You've got to get the team creating chances. And look, this is not on Ten Hag. We've not created. When was the last time you were entertained as a Man United fan? When was the last time you watched the game and went, God, we're creating so many chances? Apart from the other night against the Cypriot side, I don't remember. We don't create chances. Until we start creating chances, we can't moan about the number 9s, I'm afraid. Sick of the belief that nobody's allowed to criticise Ten Hag. United fans and channels have made it a crime to call out Ten Hag on his mistakes, says MW. Spending my 25th watching United stand, wouldn't have it any other way, says Matty. No idea why I can't whip some early crosses into the box. Matty, it's one of my biggest frustrations, the early cross into the box. And it pains me to see Man City doing something that is our trademark. Like Man United, all my life, my style of football, whether it's FIFA, coaching, whatever, I like possession. I like to move the ball forward. That's what I like to do. But I really love to get crosses into the box because that's the United way. It goes back for years, decades. United have always been in my life. When I think about United and the way that we play football, I think about risk-taking football, getting people into the box, whipping crosses in. I remember Manchester United, with some journalists criticising Ten Hag for his Ronaldo sub. Do you think the Sharks will come out more if he had bad results, says Connor? Well, I want to talk about that, Connor. It's a good point. And I agree, Mark, we've got Sancho and Anthony, but they don't put crosses in, says Mikael Roach. It's not just Sancho and Anthony. You can get natural crosses in from Delo, Luke Shaw, Malacia. Malacia's got a good cross on him. Shaw can cross. Delo can cross. How many times do they do it? And I think, you know what? I remember being at Old Trafford. I remember watching it on a Wednesday night on ITV. This is what United used to do. Everyone who's a little bit older will tell you this. First 5 minutes of a Wednesday night game at Old Trafford, whether it's Premier League or Champions League, Beckham, Neville, bombing past Beckham. Beckham has a look. If he can't get the cross in, Neville times the run, bang, cross comes in. Keenan Scholes are getting in the box with Dwight and York and everybody else. That was the first 5 minutes, and the crowd would be like, we wouldn't score, but the cross had come in and they turn it round for a corner. We're going again. That's what United has all. That's United. That is United. Crosses into the box, overlaps, get it in early, make the defence panic. That's the United way. That's one of our DNA points. I'm watching Man City do it. I'm watching Man City whipping crosses into the box this season. Now, they haven't always done it, but that's the genius of Pep. He's bought a striker who loves crosses into the box. So what are they doing? Every chance they can. Foden, Cancelo, when they had Kyle Walker, De Bruyne's getting out wide loads more this season than he ever has. They're whipping crosses into the box for a number 9 who likes crosses into the box. We bought a number 9 over a year ago. How many... we bought... Look, Ronaldo's not the player he was. We bought a guy who's one of the best headers of the ball in the world, and then we don't put crosses in the box. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. So I think that Ten Hag is frustrated, and I think that he has to actually think of a different way to play. I think the problem with the substitutions, manager's job to figure it out. He's underperforming, says Robert McCormack. It's a great point from Robert, and there was a great point about the press turning on Ten Hag. I think yesterday I've had time to think about this. Look, I stand by that taking Ronaldo off was a mistake, because if he gets that header that Rashford got, which he'd been waiting all game for, which has been waiting to be, let's be honest, Ronaldo's been waiting 2 games for that chance Rashford got, because he didn't get a chance like that on Thursday night, and he didn't get a chance like that when he was on the pitch yesterday. So when I saw that chance fall to Rashford, the reason I tweeted, if Ronaldo's on the pitch, we've just won the game, is because that wasn't exclusive to Rashford. There was nothing about pace. That was just United late on, in the box, cross comes in. Ronaldo, if he'd been on the pitch, would have got that header, and he would have scored that header. And I think everybody was right to say, if Ronaldo's on the pitch, we've just won the game. Because there was no differential between Rashford and Ronaldo. There's no movement that's any better. He's not sprinted to get there. That's the chance that you want Ronaldo to get. But, and I don't agree with the substitution of Ronaldo, because Fred should have come off. I'd have put Bruno deeper. I'd have put Sancho in the middle, Rashford off the left, and Ronaldo through the middle. That's the sub that should have been made at half time. So for me, it was the wrong substitution to take Ronaldo off. But I do, and I think Robert makes a good point, I do understand why Ten Hag took him off and might not pick him on against Spurs. For what we've just spoken about, it's a frustration. And I understand Ronaldo's frustration, but I understand Ten Hag's frustration. And Robert says it's a problem for him to solve. Robert, I think the only way he can solve it is because if Ten Hag is the coach I think he is, we're hypocrites if we don't agree with him dropping Ronaldo. And the reason is because this is not something he can solve. Like, Rangnick couldn't solve it. Solskjaer couldn't solve it. If I sit here and say to you, for 3 years, we haven't created good chances for our number 9, Cavani, Martial, Rashford, and now Ronaldo, why are we still picking a number 9? And that's the thing. I think that's why I took him off yesterday. We cannot provide chances for a number 9. So why are we playing a number 9? And I think that's what Ten Hag is going to have to figure out in the short term. These players are not good enough. Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, waste of time at Man United. Waste of time. If you can't provide them with the chances, what's the point in picking them? And I think that Ten Hag's frustration with that bubbled over, and he was like, this just isn't working. What is the point in having a number 9 striker, penalty box striker, who doesn't get any service? So I think he took him off and brought Rashford on, hoping that the pace of Rashford would, maybe there'd be a slip up or a mess up, but he just tried something different. And it didn't work, because it's very easy to play against Rashford when you're playing a low line. And then the chance falls. I guarantee when that chance fell to Rashford, Ten Hag was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I've took Ronaldo off to try something different, and then the chance falls that you want to fall to Ronaldo. So I agree with Robert. I think he's got to try something different. And basically, we might be better off just playing with a false 9, because we are incapable of putting good quality balls into the box, and it's been going on for 3 years. So I think Ten Hag's as frustrated as you are, as I am, and I think what he tried to do yesterday, as Robert McCormack sort of alluded to, is he tried to do something different. Because I tell you what, I don't think we can be hypocrites here. I think you've got to back the manager, and you've got to say, if you've got Erling Haaland up front and your players can't create chances for him, or in this case Ronaldo, why keep doing it? Like, we're 10 games into the season. The fullbacks aren't whipping early crosses into the box. Sancho and Anthony or Rashford are not putting good quality crosses into the box. Bruno isn't putting good quality into the box either. We're not doing it. And they're not suddenly going to start doing it, are they? So I think you've got to play a different way. I think you've got to, ideally Anthony Martial's fit, because Anthony Martial is a good link-up player. You've got to try and score goals a different way, but a number 9 at Man United is not going to come in and score goals like Erling Haaland, because I don't know why. It's a mystery to me, because Dalot can put a good cross in, Anthony can put a good cross in, Sancho's creative, Luke Shaw Malacia can put crosses in, Bruno's capable of being creative. But for some reason, and it's been going on for 3 years, we can't create chances for a striker, and I don't know why. But I don't think it's going to change. And if we're absolutely honest with ourselves, we can defend pretty well. It was a clean sheet yesterday, and it was a deserved clean sheet. And apart from the Man City game, we've defended very, very well. If you take away the Man City and Brentford games, how many goals have we conceded? I don't think we've conceded more than 1 in any game, apart from Man City and Brentford and Brighton, which were all losses. So we can defend very well, but we can't create chances. And as I said, when was the last time Man United had a game that you went, wow, we're creating loads of chances? We just don't do it. I don't propose to go through it on the show, but I can think of both goals against Everton were from mistakes and on the break. I think Southampton or Leicester. Yeah, I mean, most of our goals this season, most of our goals this season are counter-attacking goals. We can't create chances against a team that defends well. And it's a problem. And I think Ten Hag knows it's a problem. And it's a problem that's going to take time to solve. I thought Odegaard was brilliant for Arsenal yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. And Odegaard is probably this is why I'd like Donny to be fit. Fuck knows what's going on with Donny. I'd like Eriksen to play as a number 10 sometimes and maybe put Bruno out wide. I think that we need more care around the box. I watch Odegaard and he very rarely plays the risky pass. He plays the right pass. And sometimes the right risky pass is a right pass, but I watch Odegaard and he's playing passes that are sort of 5-10 yards max constantly. And I look at Bruno and Eriksen and I think a lot of the time they're hitting 30-40 yard passes because we're always looking to counter attack. That's, I think we've got to be more in control of the ball. And we're just not. I think it's almost like United are in the final third. They come up against a team that's got 2 banks of 4 and they panic and they're like, oh, we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. And we don't know what to do. And the whole point in that situation is to actually put decent balls into the box. Make things happen in and around the box. And we're so bad at it. And we're so easy to play against at the moment. And what he does for the next 2 games is going to be very interesting. I think at Chelsea we're fine because you go to Stamford Bridge, you counter-attack, thumbs up, we know what to do. Against Spurs on Wednesday night, it's going to be really interesting. And I'm not writing off the fact that we might win the game because we're capable of beating teams, but Spurs defend better than Newcastle, and they've got a better front 3 on the counter. So I think Richarlison's out of the game. Kulusevski might be out of the game, but they've still got Son and Kane. So it's going to be really, really interesting these next 2 games. I think we've got to win them both. I don't know whether we can win them both, but I am very realistic, and I think that I wasn't surprised by what happened yesterday. I think individualizing things is pointless. I think the most relevant point to take from yesterday is that we look, and can I just say this as well? Sancho probably elaborates a little bit too much, but it's still a penalty. Ronaldo with Trippier, it's still a penalty, and the referee blows his whistle when Ronaldo knocks it past Pope and scores. Now, they're all dubious, they're all a bit soft, they're all a bit controversial. But it felt to me like yesterday, and even the Newcastle penalty as well, it felt to me that the referee and the VAR yesterday just decided they weren't going to use VAR. Like, it's a terrible way to referee a match, to just keep saying no, 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 no. And I don't rate that referee anyway. I think he's crap. But we could have won that game yesterday, but we'd still be having the same chat. That's the most important thing. I don't want to ignore the fact that some of the refereeing decisions yesterday were abysmal, absolutely abysmal, and we could have won the game if those decisions had gone our way, and we should have won the game if Rashford had scored that header. But we'd still be having the same chat because you're intelligent people. We've been doing this for years. You don't just consume your football off a tweet. You watch the game, you analyse a game, and the point is, if we'd won the game yesterday, we still would be saying we don't create enough chances because we don't. And if we had won the game yesterday, we'd have been saying that's a really big result because it could have been a draw. So I'm not going to not acknowledge that we should have won the game. I think Newcastle fans will say they should have been 1-0 up at half-time. They were a bit unlucky. A draw is probably not a bad result, but there was context to saying we should have won the game. Penalty decisions, missed chance at the end. But the big problem is, shoulda, woulda, coulda isn't. If we were creating 3 or 4 big chances a game, we would win that game. And this is the problem that United have got. I mean, look, you look at United's problems over the last few years, getting smashed every month isn't great. But I don't hear it enough. And I don't know why we don't hear it enough, because I hear it from you enough and we discuss it enough. We've not created chances for our striker, but in a wider picture, we haven't created lots of chances in games for years. We don't create many chances. We've been ridiculously clinical. Under Solskjaer, we were clinical. Under Mourinho, we were clinical. And under Ten Hag, we have been clinical in the, up until the last 2 games. We're now missing chances and we're not winning games. We have been a very clinical team. If you give us 2 chances, we'll score 2 goals. The problem is now, if you just drop off a little bit, you don't win games. The answer is to create more chances, and we've not been doing that for 3 years. And this is something that needs to be addressed by Ten Hag, but it's not his problem. It is his problem because he's the manager and he's got to solve the problem, but it's a 3-year problem that you're not going to solve in 3 months. So I have massive sympathy for Ten Hag because 1, it doesn't get discussed by the experts, and 2, it's been going on for 3 years. It's like getting players to... Look, you can tell players this is what you need to do, create chances, right? But when players have been wiping their arse with one hand and you tell them to wipe their arse with the other hand, if you tell them before they go in the toilet to do it and you shout through the door, remember to wipe your arse with the other hand, they'll do it. But when you leave them to do it automatically, they'll go back to what they've been doing for 3 years. And that's the problem with United. You're asking players to do something they don't know how to do and they're not used to doing. And we keep seeing them revert back to what they've been doing for 3 years. We see glimpses under Ten Hag, but he's trying to train them to do something that they've not been doing for 3 years. And they just keep reverting back to what they have been doing. It's human nature. So it's a hard thing, but I think Man United's biggest problem is we've sorted the defence out. Unless you're playing someone like Man City, in which case they're going to create chances. But the defence is good. The midfield is getting better now. Casemiro's come into it, and we've seen this consistency of Eriksen. But the front 4 aren't creating the chances, and they're getting criticised. And I feel for them because for 3 years we've not created chances. So this is the issue. And it's the biggest problem of all because we're very easy to play against. And if we can start going from, we're probably creating 1 or 2 clear chances a game. We need to create 4 or 5 or 6. And that's the next step. United manager for the last 10 years, keep taking process like they have. Sir Alex, time to build it. Modern football, you need to fix it quickly, says Joseph. Mark, we need another midfielder like a De Jong to create more chances. I just think half of these players don't play for the badge. There's no grit, says Mikel. The problem yesterday, and many of you said it, the problem yesterday is, with no Eriksen, it's all on Bruno. And if Bruno doesn't have a worldie, we're in trouble. But if Bruno does have a worldie, Newcastle know he's the only outlet. So we were in trouble yesterday anyway, because unfortunately Bruno didn't have the worldie, but Newcastle also knew he was the only real outlet to create things. We were very static and very boring yesterday on the attack. We had a lot of the ball, we had a lot of the possession, but we didn't create many chances. The only other chance I can think of was the Fred miss, but I think Rashford should have shot. But I think it was going to be off. You know the one I'm talking about, where Rashford sprints, gets there ahead of Pope, crosses it to Fred, who misses the open goal. But I think Rashford was offside in the build-up. They never showed that, but I think Rashford's got to shoot there. And he's on his right foot as well. I would have fancied him. Yesterday after the match, the referee, when he was leaving the pitch, was winking at the home fans and laughing at the fans. You can see the video, says Arjun. Mark, we needed that. Okay, welcome to the Members Club, Callum. Thanks everyone who's joined the Members Club, by the way. Very relevant video. I uploaded it on Saturday. If you are a member, you get your badge next to your name, but we upload an exclusive sort of deep dive video for you each week. I uploaded one on Saturday comparing Bruno Fernandes to Odegaard, De Bruyne and James Maddison this season, delving into length of passes, pass completion, dribbles, the lot. Very interesting insight into what type of number 10 Bruno is compared to others and why that's become a bit of a problem recently because we're only able to counter-attack. We're not able to break the low block, which is why we do need another creative midfielder. And it's why I'm going to say this. Please, if you're in the press conference tomorrow, can somebody ask the question, what is wrong with Donny van der Beek and when is Donny van der Beek going to be back? Because I know some people are tired of Donny van der Beek, but God, he is the type of player that would make us a little bit different in the final third. He's a pass and move player. He's not a 40-yard passer. He's more Odegaard than Bruno, and we need that more controlled number 10. Where is he? Why is he not playing? Because we're crying out for that yesterday. Something different. He's been injured all season. He's not bloody played. What's wrong with Donny van der Beek? Can somebody please find out whether he's going to be back this week or next year or what? Because we're crying out for something different, aren't we? Ten Hag needs to chat with Conte. Play bad and win, says Vindaloo. The midfield, such as Bruno, need to address their game. Barely providing our striker with chances, and they are so far between when it comes to our players are never ready for it, says George. Does Ricky have a point that the wingers should swap to their natural sides instead of inverted, more likely to cross or overlap if they can't cut in, says Glenn. Look, everybody's a genius in their own mindset. Everybody, you know, there will be people waking up this morning saying we didn't win because we haven't got a sweeper keeper. That you know there will. They're wrong, but you know there will. There will be people saying that Fred's the reason we're so shit. I haven't mentioned Fred. He was crap, but he's not the reason we didn't win the game. Like, we don't create enough chances. And you've got people saying we need a new striker, it's Ronaldo's fault, without realising we create no chances. But let them do that. For me, this is a 3-year problem. We don't create enough chances. I can't remember a Man United game where I've sat there and gone, this is amazing, we're creating so many chances. There will be some examples, but there aren't many. We don't create enough chances. We're a counter-attacking side. That's our DNA. We don't create chances and we're a counter-attacking side. And it pains me so much to see the blue side of Manchester, a team that's been very tiki-taka for years, suddenly buy a penalty box striker and they're whipping crosses into the box. They remind me of United under Sir Alex. I never thought I'd say that. I've seen glimpses of Klopp and Sir Alex similarities. I'm now seeing Pep Guardiola evolve his style of football and start whipping crosses into the box for a number 9. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not what Man City do. That's not Pep's way. But he's now evolved his team to get wide and put crosses into the box. And they're doing it all the time. And I'm like, that's what we should be doing. I tell you what, I'd love an experiment. In fact, I don't need to carry this experiment out. We have Haaland for a month and they have Ronaldo for a month. And I guarantee you, Ronaldo will outscore Haaland by a lot. Because Man City don't need to change the way they play for Ronaldo. They just keep whipping crosses into the box. Man United, we don't provide the service Haaland wants. So, you know, it is what it is. We need to create more chances. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. We've got Fabrizio Romano on the show at 1 o'clock. There's some interesting transfer stories to talk about around strikers and a few other bits as well. So make sure you tune in at 1. Such a frustrating game to watch. The referee was bad, but so was our performance. We're not getting first or 6 points from Tottenham or Chelsea. Look, I'm moved on from yesterday. Ultimately, you have to move on. Nothing new was learnt yesterday. We don't have much of a bench. We don't create enough chances. And to win that game, we were going to win it by 1 goal. The referee was bad. Rashford should have scored. But ultimately, if you play that game 10 times, we're going to win it sometimes 1-0 and we're going to draw it. And unfortunately, it was a draw. When you're relying on a penalty or one chance to win a game, sometimes you're going to miss the chance and not get the penalty. And that's what happened. I can live with it. What we need to do is create 4 or 5 chances so that if you don't get the penalty or you miss the sitter, you get another chance. And that's the problem. We're living off scraps. Our number 9 living off scraps. We're not creating enough chances and we're very reliant on referees. That doesn't mean it wasn't a penalty. It was. Doesn't mean Rashford shouldn't have scored. He should. But we need to create more. That's what we need. Because then we're not looking for those excuses, are we? Thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoyed it this morning. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. And just remember, nobody is saying Ten Hag out. Don't fall into that trap. You can be critical of his decisions. He's going to make mistakes. He's a new manager managing a squad that's got a lot of issues. There will be mistakes. He's a new manager with a massive job. But don't start pretending that people are turning on Ten Hag when they're not. I really haven't seen anybody say it. And ultimately, the big problem is, and will remain, that the Glazers need to go because he will never win the league and he will never win the Champions League no matter what happens with them in charge. So, look, if you want to start arguing about Ten Hag, I don't know what the point is. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. We're back at 1 with Romano. 8 o'clock tonight as well. I'll speak to you all in a bit.